Hello, and I am Dileesa with Conversations with Dileesa, and I'm so excited about our guest today, Miss Cooper Phillip. Hi,
Hi,
Cooper.
Dileesa. How are you doing?
I'm good. So I'm super excited to talk to you today because I love talking to inspiring women and just being able to kind of watch your journey and see the level of success that you've been able to achieve for yourself as an artist, as a vocal teacher, as a businesswoman, and honestly, as an immigrant. I can't even say you're a first generation American, like you are an immigrant. And I find that so incredible to see your journey. It's incredibly inspiring, and I'm so happy to know you. And I can't wait for my audience to know more about you. So,
Thank you.
um, I am so excited to dig in. So let's start first. Cooper is a fantastic singer. She has such an amazing voice.
Thank
And
you.
I want to talk about one of the most recent things you did and kind of move backwards. So, one of the most recent things you did was you did The Voice Russia.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what that experience was like. Like, what were some notable moments within that experience, and what do you feel? What did you think you were going to gain from it? What did you actually gain from it? Were those two different things? That was a lot.
So it was a fantastic experience for me. Um, Kind of like because I live in the States for almost 13 years. Um, I wanted to grow my Russian audience because of my teaching career. Because I started teaching singing and breathing, going back and forth between United States, Ukraine, Russia, um, Latvia, Lithuania, and all those um, Eastern European countries. Because I really wanted to share not only the knowledge but the experience that I gained in the States as an immigrant. So and for me, going on The Voice in Russia uh, was kind of like a challenge because so many people knew me already as someone who um, succeeded in the States. And a lot of people said, why do you need that experience? Like, so many people know you already. So why would you go to like let other people shine? Because you already shine, basically. But I was like, I'm going to The Voice just to gain my audience in Russia. And I really want to be on stage because the pandemic shut down everything. You know,
Mm.
there were so many plans and opportunities, like for everyone, for everybody. Yeah, we've lost so many opportunities, like touring, traveling. It was hard for a few years. So I thought I will just do The Voice because, first of all, I really wanted to try to sing in Russian because I never actually sing, like I haven't been singing in Russian for a long time living in the States. I didn't have a need to, you know. And I really wanted to kind of challenge myself with it. And being on stage is the greatest thing on earth for me. And I was like missing the stage, being kind of stuck in this pandemic times. So it was really challenging for me because I thought I knew everything about how TV works based on my some of my experiences in the States, but I actually had no idea how great of a lesson I'm gonna learn by just being there. And I
Hmm.
never wanted to compete with other singers. For me, it was a competition with myself,
Yeah.
with my limit, with fear, and it was amazing. So um, I came to Russia to participate in The Voice late August, and I came back to the States after 5.5 months of like this entire experience and filming, and I came a completely different person with a different sense of appreciation of everything in my life, people, opportunities, music. So it was amazing, honestly. Not the result, because I made it to quarterfinals, and
Okay.
the voting process um kind
So
of
when
like,
you say quarterfinals, is that top four? Is that top 10,
no,
top
no, no,
25?
I think top 12,
Okay.
and then it goes to top 8, and then 4, and then
Got
3.
it.
But my original goal was not to win or to take a place. I actually really wanted to challenge myself and sing something new and be in front of the camera and learn some new tricks.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very cool. Honestly, I'm thinking about like the voice of US maybe, because
Yeah.
why not, you know?
I mean, you have an amazing voice. So I'm sure no matter what voice show you try out for, you're gonna make an impact.
Mm.
So let's back up then. Let's talk about your your journey from Russia to the United States. Like um what kicks that off for you? What was the catalyst that made you uh migrate? Because I will say this for myself, I'm an immigrant also. I was born in England. My parents were born in England. My grandparents are Jamaican. And 30 years ago, my grandparents and my parents and we all moved to the States as well. So my move was just because the adults in my life said it was time to go. But that wasn't necessarily the case with you, correct?
Yeah. So my whole thing about the move was actually a spontaneous decision. Because I always felt like I can't be who I am musically, and I cannot express myself honestly because I was told sing in Russian, um, like live in your culture. Like, why do you need to sing American music? Oh, you go into America, nobody needs another Beyonce, or like, who are you trying to be? And I was like, it was like an opportunity for me uh,
Mm-hmm.
to see the land of the best um, artists, because I grew up
Mm-hmm.
with Whitney Houston, Christina Aguilera, Mariah is my queen, like Beyonce. Um, and back then, in like late 2000s, it was really hard to get like CDs.
Wow.
Like when I was like a teenager, um, I was able to buy like one CD or one DVD with my like favorite music um, once like in a blue moon. So we didn't have like money to go and get. So there was no internet. You cannot go online and check this artist. You like basically just always finding a way to get to know this new music,
Mm.
figure out what you like and why you want to listen to this new artist. So that's how we learned about Chaka Khan, Kim Burrell. So it was really hard to get in Russia in like early
Wow.
2000s. Yeah. And then I came to the States in 2009 for the first time to New York, and I fell in love with everything. So I felt like home. I was like, oh my God, I feel like home for the first time in my life. I feel like I'm home. That was
Wow.
really strange because it's a different culture, different language. I didn't really speak well back then, didn't understand much. I was like this little fish from Finding Nemo, you know? Uh, I understand everything, I think, but I cannot speak back because I'm not quite confident about my level of understanding. So it was for a few
Yeah.
years, it was just like cultural shock. But
Yeah.
I decided to stay for a little bit, and I stayed throughout the summer of 2009 in New York, and I fell in love even more. And kind of like felt like this is my country. I want to stay here and start over. Um, and I was able to do everything that I wanted, singing jazz, soul music, R&B, and I was getting so much appreciation for it. So I thought, yeah, I will stay and I'll just start my life from scratch, and I did, and I have no regrets, and I'm basically I have two minds in my brain, right? I have two sides. One is appreciating the culture I'm coming from,
Yeah.
and second half is a new American side of me um, that has understanding of um, space, respect. Um, letter I in English is always a capital letter.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That says so much about the culture. Yeah, it's in Russian. In Russian, I is just a small letter.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's and those little things they make you think about the meaning behind of the person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's just I don't know, just sharing my thoughts with you. It's been a cool journey, and definitely wasn't easy because I had to start from scratch. And my mom came after a few weeks. I was in New York, and my mom came to support me and
Mhm.
stay with me. My mom is a single mom who's a musician, classical musician. She's a violinist. She traveled the world for 20 years with symphonic orchestras, and she basically gave up everything she had in Russia to go with me, and she stayed.
Wow.
And it's a completely different story right now. Yeah,
That's amazing. Is your mom still in New York?
no, she's in LA.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
we moved
Wow.
in 2012 to Los Angeles
Wow.
and
This is
started.
all this is all like very recent history.
Well, it's been 13 years.
Oh my gosh,
Been,
that's like yesterday.
yeah.
So, um, gosh, now my brain is like buzzing. Wow. So let me ask you this, just random question. What was your first job?
My first job was actually singing. I
Oh,
came
wow.
I had a J1 visa. It's like a student visa where you can officially work. You have work
Yeah.
authorization. And I was singing at this Russian club in Brooklyn. That was my first job. I was actually lucky to have singing job my entire life. Everywhere and anywhere, I was just making money doing music, singing, performing. But back in Russia, I worked at cosmetic store. Like I was selling perfume and
Yeah.
creams and stuff like that. So
I can so see that.
yeah, but I hated it. I was reading Mariah Carey's interview, and at some point of her life, she was a waitress. And
Hmm.
in one of her interviews, I read that she was talking about that experience, and she said, I probably was the worst waitress in the world because I hated this job so much, and I was feeling bad for people I was, you know, working for because my mind was always in the studio on stage, and I was doing this job so badly. And when I was doing that cosmetic store job, I was thinking the same. I was like, I'm not trying to be good at it because my heart is in a different place. I just got to be here for now to just make the money because I'm a
Yeah.
student and I'm trying to hustle.
Yeah. I worked at restaurants too. I was an okay hostess, but I was a terrible busser. You know, like the bus boys, the people that
Yeah.
come behind and pick everything up. By the end of the night, every piece of food was all over me. Like flies were attracted to me because I spilled everything. It was so bad. It was just not for
This
me.
is how I eat normally.
It was it was not for me. Okay, so Mariah Carey is your favorite singer.
Yes, one of.
Can you do something really quick, just really
Uh,
spontaneous? Can you give me like a Mariah Carey run or something?
sure. Treated me kind, sweet destiny carried me through desperation. uh, to the one that was waiting for me. Something like that.
Oh my gosh, that was like was that her first single ever?
Yeah. I don't know why I
Oh my God.
started with this song. I don't know.
No, that was an amazing song. I remember when it came out. Okay, so let's switch gears and talk about your voice is amazing, by the way. I wanted to ask you that because I know you say that that's your favorite singer, and I remember the first time hearing you sing, I was like, wow, she has her inflections down pat. you
I've been
know.
practicing for hours every single day, starting the day I heard her sing. I was so like influenced by everything she was doing. First, when I heard her sing, I was like, is it possible for a human do what she does? I'm like, yes, if she does it, then I can possibly do it too. So I
Yes.
started mimicking each and every sound on every single song that I was able to get, and I had this MP3 collection of her albums. Um, and I was just like turning it on for like 6 hours straight, like her entire catalog. I was just mimicking every sound, literally, because I didn't speak English. I didn't understand what she
Wow. So they were just
was saying.
sounds to you.
Sounds, just mimicking, just pure mimicking. And actually a very interesting fact that I actually started learning English from the back of the CD with her titles. So I really wanted to know first what each name of the song means. So I was going to this like a physical, like a dictionary, right?
Hmm.
I had a little book, and I was just going on this each page, and I was trying to figure out what each word means. That was so
Wow.
very hard because back then we had no access to internet. It was everything was just you have to look for
Yeah,
it.
you had to have an encyclopedia or a
Yeah,
dictionary. Like it was the old fashioned way. Yeah.
old fashioned way for sure. Yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, and I guess my persistency and kind of this entire thing that I was doing with her, like repeating the words and mimicking her, gave me that sense of style. So everything
Hmm.
I was singing at that time, even I was singing like Celine Dion song or Lara Fabian or Whitney Houston, I sounded just like Mariah, like in her
Yeah.
style. So I kind
Yeah.
of lost of like I lost myself in her. I
Yeah.
got so addicted. So then I started listening
But
to
I will say this, that's a really good person to lose yourself to.
into.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then a few years after, I realized that I sound just so much like somebody else, and it's not truly my voice. It's not authentic to me. But I had no idea who I was as a singer because I was so afraid to do something wrong technically, and I was so afraid to be judged. I was always looking for that sense of approval.
Hmm.
It's kind of a cultural thing, I think, and maybe just my family, whatever I was, kind of the
Yeah.
environment I was raised into. So I kind of started listening to some gospel artists. That's how I discovered Kim Burrell.
Yeah.
I started studying Lauryn Hill. We had that beautiful, amazing movie that just
Yeah.
came out at that time, Sister Act 2 with Lauryn
Yeah.
Hill.
Hmm.
And I started learning those songs, and I tried mimicking other singers, and it was hard for me because I was just so much into Mariah. But I kind of started letting go of that image of her and studied different singers. So kind of my thing is I'm a blend of everybody who I love.
That's
Uh,
awesome. I say the same thing. I always say I'm a conglomerate of all of my favorite singers, and at different moments you'll hear the different influences. So let me ask you this. So let's talk about your vocal coaching.
yeah.
So listen, you work so hard as a vocal teacher. Like I am so inspired by your hustle.
Mhm.
I think the last time you mentioned it, like you're teaching from like 7 in the morning and you do like 9 clients a day and you have like a
Not
WhatsApp
anymore.
group
Not
and then
anymore.
you have a book and then you go on workshop tours. So,
Like
talk
for
to
me,
me.
when I'm obsessed with something like this, like I'm obsessed with like teaching people and sharing knowledge, I don't even think about like working hard. For me, it's part of my routine because I love to grow. Like I want to be best version of myself every single day.
I
Tomorrow
love
I'm
that.
going to be better than today, and it's a natural, like it's an instinct.
I
Uh,
love that.
and with
Where
sharing,
does that come from? Like, I think everyone would like to be the best version of themselves, but what is it that makes you actually do it?
it's something that you have inside that you have to open up. It's like a huge power. It's an instrument that we have inside that we carry around everywhere we go. But for some reason, we have to go to see one teacher, one like life coach or psychologist, a therapist, to understand that we actually don't need anybody else, but finding motivation inside. This is the hardest thing. And I was never like, my entire life I was not like this. I was very lazy. I was very talented at like singing. I didn't really work hard in the beginning. I didn't want to do anything else. I thought music is easy. That's why I want to do it because it goes
Yeah.
with flow. But then what I realized, just imagine you have a huge gift, and then you have another huge gift is working on your gift. And when those two come together, you're winning. And I quickly realized that I'm very competitive, and I've participated in like dozens of singing competitions and festivals as a kid. I won over 60 of them, like from 10
Wow.
years old to 18. It actually helped me to get my extraordinary visa in the States. When you like, yeah, when you're creative, you're a dancer, singer, and you have some sort of world-class achievements, and you can prove that you are that special person, the United States of America, like, they give you a green card for it. So that's how I got my.
Yes, thank you for the plug.
So going back to this teaching thing, I think I came to the United States thinking I'm going to become a next superstar, right? Because I want to
Mhm.
be on stage sharing my gift. But there's nothing more powerful than sharing your knowledge and changing people's life. As a vocal
Mhm.
coach, you know that too, because sometimes people come to you and they want to hear positive um, words, right?
Yeah.
They want to embrace the hustle, right? They want to get a support from someone who they trust. And as a singing coach, it's not just you teaching people different technique. Obviously, we want to make sure that everyone's healthy, that you're doing the correct technical thing for your vocal cords, you're not damaging it, and you can go forever, right? But I feel people come to me also because I'm helping them to change perspective on who they are and how they think about the way they sound. Because a lot of people come and they say, "Oh, I can do this, I can do that. I don't have technical questions, but I don't love my voice." So
Yeah.
in many cases, I'm trying to help people to recognize their own voice and fall in love with it. And this
I
is hard.
love that.
Yeah. And obviously, what I've been teaching for almost 15 years. I started teaching at 16. When I was in fifth grade, our math teacher was always, "Hey, Cooper, I'm going to the pharmacy. Can you teach our class this?" You know
Oh my
that.
gosh.
And I've discovered even back then that everything that I know and understand deeply, I can teach anyone because I have a gift of explanation. I don't know how to say that even. I knew that
Yeah.
if I really want to share the knowledge, I can deliver it to every single person. And I
Yeah.
can find like a gazillion ways to describe the same thing many different directions. So everyone,
Yeah.
everyone can understand me. It started from the fifth grade, but then when I fell in love with singing, I realized that even technical thing like riffs or even the feeling of how I do the riffs and runs, right? Because it was a big thing because I've been mimicking Mariah, and
Yeah.
people started coming to me asking, "Oh, how do you like? Can you teach me the riffs and runs?" And I'm like, "I don't know how to teach that. Teach that. Just you just listen and you repeat."
Yeah.
And people are like, "But we don't have that gift from the beginning, but you do." And I'm like, "Actually, no. I've developed that too. It's not my gift. I worked hard. I was just what was I doing?" Like, and I started thinking, how do I describe what I feel to this completely different person so he or she can do it too. And I
Yeah.
started experimenting, and
Mhm.
it was successful. So I had students, I had kids and adults, and like even like my classmates in singing academy where we were getting masters of music degree in singing. Um,
Mhm.
and I started as a classical pianist first, and I played harp for 5 years also. Then I went to like a bachelor degree singing college as jazz pop, but in Russia back then, jazz Stevie Wonder considered jazz. We sang
Okay.
lots of soul music and lots of jazz and traditional jazz and R&B and some rock. So it was like a mixture of all best genres.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and then I moved to Moscow with my mom to pursue my education. And I got into this classical academy. Uh,
Mhm.
it's called Classical Academy, named after Maimonides. It's a Jewish ancient scientist who was developing music, law, philosophy, and languages back in
Wow.
beginning of the century. You know, and that's kind of four different fields of education we had in the academy, and mine was music. And I love the education I got in Russia because it was not just you're a singer, sing and practice and perform. It was you have to know music, you have to know harmony, you have to compose, you have to play instruments. So it was a very global approach to music
Yeah,
education. So I loved it. So I had to play, I had to learn harmony, and the perspective of this education was, we're not trying to make you the best singer, we're trying to make you the best musician.
I love that.
Yeah.
I
So I
feel like I feel like what you're saying in short is that, I mean, first of all, you're highly intelligent,
thank
you're super
you. You're
gifted,
so sweet,
and
Lisa. So sweet.
I always talk about how teaching is an art, and that's exactly what it is. Because when your your process, right? Like singing can be broken down to, like, I guess you would say, a scientific method. Like you kind of reach the end of this thing, and in order to be able to teach it, you kind of have to go back to what were my thoughts when I didn't understand. And when you can get back to yourself of when you didn't understand, then you can relate to the person who doesn't understand and give them those teeny tiny building blocks. So I want to switch gears. Sorry, the teeny tiny building blocks that helps build their understanding. Sorry, I didn't finish that sentence. So
Yeah.
now let's switch gears. You have, the last time I looked, I don't know what it is now, but the last time I looked, you had over 300,000 followers on Instagram. That may have grown because it was a while that I looked.
Well, this is my artist page, but I have another
Yes.
teaching page that is dedicated for Eastern European audience, Russian speaking audience. Um, and I have like close to like 87,000 over there, but it's just specifically for teaching.
Yeah.
Um, and when I started,
No, I have a question. So I want to talk about your artist page. How many followers do you have there?
over 300,000.
That's what I thought. Okay, I just want to make
Yeah.
sure. So my question is, like, so you've gone over to Russia, the Ukraine. You've even done work. Have you? No, I don't think you've done workshops in London, but you've done tours in London, like singing
Um,
tours.
I've done a few master classes in London in
Okay, so you've done master classes all
2000.
over. What is your idea of success? Because I think a lot of people would say that you're successful, but it doesn't seem like you are done reaching for success. Is
It's like,
there a hill that you're climbing that when you get on top of that hill, you'll go, now I'm successful? Or do you think you'll
I don't
kind
think
of,
so. I think with my temper and who I am as a person, it will never be a thing like I will ever stop. Because when I'm so like, I would say, infected with this idea of growing consistently and developing myself as a human being, as an artist, because you can always sing better than yesterday. You can always teach better than yesterday. Like, but you can never stop and say you've achieved everything, because that's where you start degrading.
Mhm.
I think I'm very like, I don't even think about that, because you just said that and I'm like, okay, is that, are you talking about me? I guess this is who I am, right? But I'm always hungry for new knowledge and new achievements. And it's not for proving someone that I'm better or I'm more successful. I'm trying not to think about comparison and competition.
Mhm.
That's the worst thing, because the culture I'm coming from, we were taught to compare. Oh, she's better than you because she can do this. Like,
Wow.
hold on and like do it better than her. It's like a sense of
Mhm.
competition, which is cool. But when you so like involved in it too much, you lose the creative flow. You lose the
Because
purpose.
you're just trying to focus on what someone else is doing and match it and
Yeah,
beat it versus giving what God's given
yeah.
to you.
It's not your life. Your life is being in this creative flow and actually doing what you love. I think success for me is the ability to do what I love all the time
I love
without
that.
choosing what I can and what I cannot do. And for me, I thought being on stage is my one and only love. But when I started working with students, and like, it's just crazy to think about the number of people who came to me in the last 3.5 years, over 15,000 people, like one-on-one groups online. Like, it's crazy, like 15,000 people. It's like a stadium of people. It's like, wow, I can't believe
It's amazing.
I did it. And I built an amazing team of teachers and managers around me, and we have this entire team of biophonics. And I'm not thinking about the success as a brand. I never think, oh my God, I created this brand, people know me, blah blah blah. I'm thinking about how many lives I was able to touch. This is what's important to me, because
Yeah.
branding, names, everything is changing, but when you actually changing somebody's life and you able to help for real and give the sense of truth, because I think all of us, we're all looking this truth, right?
Yeah.
Purpose of like, okay, now we know how to do wrists and runs, now we go to the whistle tone, and we know how to do that, we know the low end, like we know how to do like some sort of like vocal tricks, but then the question is, what are you going next? Knowing and having all of this, you know, tricks in your pocket, how do you use them? Where do you go? How do you express yourself? It's all about expressing yourself. I think because of that thinking pattern, we don't have as many good singers, and the era of
Hmm.
big singers is over, because today is about expressing your philosophy, expressing your thoughts in any possible creative free way. There's no norm anymore, there's no like
Yeah.
structure to it. But I love singers. That's why, even if I have to, let's say I have somebody coming to me saying, hey Cooper, you can be a superstar tomorrow, but sing this. And if it's not something that speaks and resonates with me, not something that I would love to be part of, and it's not me, I won't do it. That's success to me, because I can do what I love. And even if this big thing can give me like huge success in terms of popularity and fame, but it's not me, I don't want to do it, because
Yeah,
I,
because what it does is it opens up a lane that you don't even want to walk down. Like everything that will come after that will continue to be things you don't want.
yeah. And I've had that mistake in the past, because I had a team of managers like 5 7 years ago, had meetings with labels, and everything was just on the edge of this success that I came for from Russia, and did everything I did. And then I started making music that I didn't love. And I thought this is the right way, because people know better what to sell, and people know better who I am. But I didn't know who I was back then. That was my mistake. I allowed those wrong influences touch me too deep. So I lost the sense of what I really want to do. And I think
Yeah.
TV helped me to find myself back and understand
Mm.
who I really am, because I really want to do music I love. And I know that sincerity and this creative flow I'm talking about is the number one thing and the number one priority for every single artist, because you can only speak to your audience knowing who you are, and people come to you because they feel that strength, they feel that core. And
Absolutely.
if you're doing something that you're told to do because it's successful and should be successful, this is wrong. This is wrong mentality. I think you should just do you. And finding
Um,
you, real you, for me was the hardest challenge of my life, because it seems like I'm preaching right now and saying that I know everything, but I don't. But back maybe 5 7 years back, I was completely lost. I didn't know who I am and who I was. Um, I thought that I have to play a role of a girl who came from Russia and very successful, and she's the first one who's gonna make it. And it was just, I was just trying to prove a point, and it's stupid, because in order to be that big figure and create something very big, you have to really understand like inside who you are. And
yeah.
I didn't back then, and I do now, and I do now because I work with so many people with the same issue, with the same problem. People were coming to me with like singing issues, and like we were working, and I was able to give them the knowledge and success, and they succeeded. I have students who won The Voice Ukraine, Lithuania, Russia, Voice Kids, and
That's
I
amazing.
trained so many like successful famous artists as well. um, and I feel like it's not about how much you know, it's about how do you live and how do you spread your gift. It's about state of mind, it's not about the technical aspect only. And
Absolutely.
this is what I'm learning from my students. So it's like a two side, it's like a game,
You
right?
learn a lot too. Yeah.
You
Like
learn
when you
a
step
lot
into
from
it, you
other
learn so
people.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, you learn from other people. And this learning process helped me to understand myself better as an artist. That's the most amazing discovery of this past few years, you know.
So let me ask you two more questions. So one, just to be clear, people can find your music and it's like pop R&B, right?
Yeah. It's pop
Okay,
with some, yeah, urban flavor, I would say, because I love
got it.
urban.
Okay, so
Yeah,
then where can people find your music?
everywhere. YouTube, Instagram,
And they
Spotify,
just
Tidal, Cooper Phillip. It's easy to find.
Cooper Phillip. So if you guys want to hear her music, you can go to Cooper Phillip. And then I just have one last question for you. What what can we expect next from Cooper Phillip? Like what's next for Biophonics, for Cooper Phillip the artist? Like
So right now, it's actually really strange because I was just talking how much I didn't love Russian music and didn't want to make Russian music. I'm actually making Russian songs right now, but they are very, very Western pop. I would say it sounds like a cool urban pop American song, just in Russian. That's kind
yeah,
of my niche. It's cool. I
that's
love
awesome.
music like that because what I've learned being on The Voice,
Hmm.
that unfortunately not a lot of people understand English language so deeply. So why not to give them some thoughts in Russian, right? So that's how I started creating my like Russian album. And I love the music. I never thought I would be so involved in this process like this. Um, I have about 20 songs in English that I worked on during the pandemic with my favorite writers and producers here in LA. Those songs are ready to go, but I'm just trying to figure out what the best way to release them so larger audience can hear and listen to the songs.
Yes.
Um, in terms of my teaching career, I teach. I don't teach 9 lessons anymore a day. I was break
Yay.
for about a year, but now I do 2 or 3, 4 maybe. And I have to wake up early just because majority of my clients for now are in Eastern Europe, so it's their evening, my morning. That's the only time we can work. So I start
Yeah.
at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, LA time, and I finish around noon. And I love, like, I can't stop. I love it so much. Like, it's people say it's infectious. People see me teach, and every single time the lesson is over, the hour runs by so quickly. I'm like, was an hour? No, no way. I'm just starting. Come on, I'm just starting. So I'm completely lost in time when I teach.
That's
I'm
awesome.
and it's obviously depends on who I'm working with because people are different. Some people have like communication issues, like they come to you and they say, "Oh, this is my issue. I want to work on that." But then my goal and my responsibility is to tell them that uh, as a vocal coach, with my knowledge of diagnostics, right, I'm recommending them to start here because they can get there where they want to get to
Yeah,
faster.
absolutely.
And not
Yes.
a lot of people know how to trust and listen. And I'm not expecting people to trust me right away. You know, it's an interesting thing because I worked with so many vocal coaches myself as an artist, and this trust develops in like months and years because it's such an intimate trust. You know, it's so, I don't want to sound awkward, but it's just so important to trust somebody you work with, especially singing. You're trusting your voice, you're trusting
Absolutely.
your fear, you're trusting your instrument to someone. Like, I'm not expecting people to trust me right away, but
Hmm.
my involvement, the way I connect with them and how deep I'm going into each and every single person I work with, help me to get that trust quicker and faster. So I have about 25 people I see weekly, 2, 3 times a week sometimes. Some people I'm vocal producing, helping, with songwriting and coming up with some, because I love to arrange vocals around the track. And if people bring me original songs,
Yeah. Yeah.
I love to create some sort of like harmonies and some pads and vocal pads. I love vocal production. And this field is sort of abandoned, especially in Russia. People don't know what vocal production is, and
Yeah.
um, I'm teaching that as well. Just how I understand it. I kind of help people with that thing. Then I help with English, kind of isolating the Slavic accent. Uh,
Yeah.
help with riffs and runs. It's my thing because of Mariah. And I've created three little exercise books for riffs and runs because what I've learned that the control over your vibrato is what helps you to control your riffs and runs. And it's just so much, you know. And I work with every single student. I have a method. My students call I have a method, right? There's
Yeah.
Cooper's method, but I feel like it's the blend of different techniques I studied from different people, and
Yeah.
I applied those technique to myself first.
Yeah.
No, they really work, and then I share and
Of
kind of
course. Yeah.
compilation of different things. But I do have my own exercises that I created from scratch, and I have three books of riffs and runs that tell you. It's unfortunately in Russian. I'm gonna translate in English. I had no idea how much it can help even English speakers and like European people who don't speak English as a first language, or even like I have some um, American clients, and it really works. And I was like, wow, I guess I created something cool. You know, it helps
Of
people so much.
course. It can help everybody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you know, sometimes when you creating something and you trying to achieve that level of not trust, but you're trying to be helpful, right? You don't think of the impact. And I, when I came to Russia in 2018 for the first time in 10 years to teach my first singing workshop offline, I thought everybody should know what I know. I thought my knowledge is just regular. And then when I've kind of worked with people, and people looked at me like with wide open, eyes wide open. And I was like, okay, so I guess I know something more than regular people. Oh, I actually know something very unique. Oh my God.
You know, something very unique, especially because, the way that Americans sing is so unique to American culture because it's steeped in our language and our diction and just
Yeah,
where we place our voices day
yeah,
to day. And
yeah.
teaching people that are even English speakers that are not American, you would be surprised that how much the American speech influences the great American singers. You know what I'm saying?
Of
And
course.
how they sing. So when you're working with singers from Africa, singers from England, singers from Trinidad and Jamaica, you're going to run into that as well, that there's just something very unique about the American style of singing. Um,
Yeah, it's the best.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just
It's the best.
there's just something
This
there's
language
the
is
word I'm
made
looking for. It's
is made
something so
for
unique about it that's not easily duplicatable unless you really kind of get into the nitty-gritty
yeah,
of diction. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, it's amazing.
but I have to end this interview.
Okay,
Um, you're
so much,
amazing.
Dileesa.
You are full of so much knowledge and you're so passionate about what you do and you deserve every bit of success that you have, and I wish you all the more success. Like I said, you are incredibly inspiring, and just so hardworking, and I hope that the viewers walk away saying, wow, if I can just approach every day with the love for what I'm doing and the passion to help people, what in the world can I create? So
So much.
I think I think that's what the takeaway here is. And I just want to thank you again so much for
Thank you so much
coming.
for letting me speak and share my story. And it's always a pleasure working and talking with you. Love you, Dileesa.
Oh, I love you too. I love you too. Thank you so much. And see you guys next time.